Everyone, welcome to the movie section show. My name is Fariva, and this morning we actually got an unexpected trailer for Echo, which is actually the MCU Disney Plus show. And a lot of you are probably wondering, wait, what is Echo? And well, just to kind of refresh a little bit, Echo is actually the alter ego of Maya Lopez, and you may recognize that name from Hawkeye. She was the character who I believe was like the deaf superhero that we got to see in Hawkeye, who faced up against Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. And if you kind of recall a little bit, she was that supporting character who was basically, following in the ropes of Kingpin. That's where the connection is between the two characters. So around that time, of course, like if you remember the whole Hawkeye, run, that there were a lot of, discussions about, Echo being a part of like the Daredevil Kingpin story plot because of the events that happened in Hawkeye. And if you actually recall what happened at the end of Hawkeye, she survived, I believe. If I recall, she survived and she actually confronted Kingpin at one point. Like she basically turned on him. And at the end of that episode, you would recall that there was a sound of the shot, which would have implied that either Kingpin is dead or has been hurt in some capacity. But she did something to Kingpin. We know that he's going to be returning, of course, for the Daredevil TV show that's currently on hold right now because of the actor strike. But we know for a fact that he at least has survived that event from Maya Lopez's hands, and we haven't really heard anything about her since then. Although, ever since the Hawkeye series, it was announced that there was going to be an Echo show. Again, I believe there's been rumors that both Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, the two actors who play Daredevil and Kingpin respectively, are going to be showing up in some capacity in the show. Although, of course, like just hearing about Echo, there hasn't been a lot of hype behind it. Partially because, for one thing, right now the MCU is kind of in a big of a mess, although Loki's kind of the saving grace right now, at least in this year. And then, of course, like there just wasn't a lot of great hype for Maya Lopez's character back when she did appear in Hawkeye. Like a lot of people were just a bit underwhelmed with their character development, so there was just kind of like this disconnect between the idea of doing a show, even though she'd appeared earlier, but there just hasn't been a lot of great development for a character. So that's kind of the whole gist of what's going on with Echo, like just kind of the history behind that, the fact that, this is the Echo that we actually did see back in Hawkeye. Now, just a little kind of another kind of detail to add in there, that the show was supposed to have been released or supposed to have premiered this year. It was actually supposed to be the concluding show for this year in terms of the MCU the MCU Disney Plus series. And then I believe it was like, a couple months ago that, maybe a month or two ago, that Marvel Studios confirmed that they were going to delay Echo to the following year. So I believe it may be coming out like roughly January, February of next year now. So with that makes Loki the concluding Marvel TV show, Marvel Disney Plus TV show for this year. And we're not going to have any more content beyond Loki for the remainder of this year. Like I think after Loki, so we only have kind of two MCU projects left. One is going to be the Loki season 2 finale next week, as well as the Marvel's release that's also going to be next week. So they're coming out at the same time, and after that, that's the end of the 2023 schedule for the MCU. And then next year, so I guess it's going to be kicking off with Echo. Having all said that, right? We got the first trailer for Echo, despite the fact that there's a lot of qualms about whether or not this show is necessary. The fact that there hasn't been a lot of great development for Maya Lopez, that, there isn't a lot of, knowledge of who she is as a character. But we'll see how it all goes, right? I think there is a possibility that this character could be very essential and very connected to Daredevil, because Daredevil series is going to be coming out in about like 2 years from now, even though right now that has also been delayed because of, again, the strikes. But we'll see how it all goes. The trailer has now come out, so I'm very curious to see like what this show is going to be about. Like if it actually might be able to kind of revamp a lot of our feelings about, you know, the character and kind of just our interpretations of it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right down into the first trailer for Echo.
Maya.
That's Kingpin. That's Kingpin.
I see everything that you are.
Isn't it not for you?
I always have.
Oh snap! This is the Kingpin that we know. This is the Kingpin that we know. That's Netflix. Oh my god. Disney! Oh my god! Yo. Okay, January.
You have so much pain in you. You.
Oh, so he's back. Okay.
So much rage. That you can't contain it.
Really sinister.
You and I are the same. So,
oh,
who's the monster?
Oh shit. Oh, so he survived. Okay, so he survived. Yeah, January 10th. Whoa! Oh my! I don't usually ever do this, but I just had a colleague tell me that apparently Daredevil showed up in the trailer, and I must have missed it because it must have been one of those like quick mashups. So I'm gonna take another look at the trailer just to find that specific scene that he was talking about, because if so, oh my god, I'm about to lose my mind. So let's do another take on, but just specifically just the end of the trailer. That's what they told me. So let's see where Daredevil is. No freaking way. No freaking way. Oh my god. Oh my god. It looks, is it the original suit? Hold up. That's gotta be the original suit. I don't see the yellow. Oh my. That's the original suit. That's gotta be the original suit. Oh my god. So. Oh, okay. So there you have it. Daredevil's in the trailer too. So this is just perfect. So yeah, Daredevil's in the show, of course. We just got to see the first footage of him right here. I cannot believe I missed it the first time. Probably because it was happening. Is that her? Oh, it looks like they're fighting each other too. So, oh man, I cannot wait to see this episode. But oh man, Daredevil's in the show. Wow. So yeah, Daredevil's in the show, by the way. Wow, I'm just impressed by this. I had to go check. I had to just check back on this specific scene because I had missed it. Oh my god, I can't believe I missed it the first time. So there you have it. There's Daredevil right there. That was the trailer for an Echo, and I'm completely shocked. Like, I did not expect that whatsoever, but that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Whoa, I did not expect that whatsoever. So just to kind of like, just to get my brain processing. So for one thing, this basically confirms that Kingpin is in the show. I think more than I anticipated. I thought it was just going to be merely a cameo, but it seems as if he's actually going to be very, very essential, very integral into the storytelling for Maya Lopez / Echo. So that's one thing that's been settled right here, that he's going to be very important in the series, which I feel like because of that it's going to be really crucial going into Daredevil as well. So we're going to get a little bit more of this idea of what kind of Kingpin / Wilson Fisk that we're dealing with here in the Marvel Cinematic Universe compared to like the Netflix versions. But oh my god, I did not expect that. Like because of the fact that, you know, Marvel Studios is under Disney, right? Like you kind of have this feel that, oh, everything has to be a bit friendly, has to be family friendly. They have to really kind of maintain like a certain degree of like image of how they can portray things. But I did not expect this to go super violent, like right off the bat. Like the beginning of the sequence that we see here, where Maya is like a young child, and that's probably when she starts to really kind of, you know, meet Kingpin, and that's where we have like this whole backstory, origin story from the looks of it. The fact that we actually see a version of Kingpin where he is that very, you know, egotistical, very bad, like, you know, ill-tempered villain that we saw back in, you know, in the Netflix version. Like, just to see that version kind of emanating here, I did not expect that whatsoever, because that was something that I feel a lot of people were really underwhelmed by when we saw him, you know, appear in Hawkeye. That, you know, he appeared and he happens to be working with Kate Bishop's his mom and all that sort of stuff, but we never really got to see the full extent of who he is as a character, or at least giving us an idea of how his character is going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But here it's like this definitely kind of answered a big, you know, it's big question a lot of people have been asking, like, okay, is, you know, how are we going to see the Kingpin and Daredevil versions that we saw from like the Netflix ones, or are they going to be like dumbed down a little bit because of the fact that, you know, they are so violent in the Netflix version that it's not going to be suitable for the family friendly image that Disney wants. So just to see here, the fact that we actually get to see that version of Kingpin, that version of Wilson Fisk that we saw back in Netflix, the one who's very bad-tempered, who is going to go and beat the crap out of people. And not just that, but just to see the image of his bloody hand right there, just like his knuckles, I was just like, oh my god, I did not expect that whatsoever. And I have to say, like, if they are going in that route, I think that the Echo show that we're going to get might be very promising. Like, I think that could be, this is going to change a whole lot of how we kind of imagine a lot of the, you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe content. But in particular, like, this could really amplify the storytelling for, you know, Maya Lopez / Echo. So the fact that we got to see bits of that, like that violence, that goriness, that bloodiness, like the extent of it, like, I feel like we're starting to really challenge that line with Disney, which is like, okay, so where are they kind of working this? But if this is the approach that they're taking, I'm now very intrigued. So, because before, like, I'm going to say, like, I was not really kind of, you know, too hyped about Echo before. At least, like, before watching this trailer, I was not too hyped about Echo. I was just going to go and watch it casually. That was just how I'm going to be, you know, that's how kind of how I was feeling about going into the upcoming series. But now, having seen that trailer, I'm now very intrigued how they're going to tackle this, considering the depths of how they're going to go into the violence, the whole bloodiness, the goriness, and then also really going deep into this relationship between Maya Lopez and Winston Fisk, which from the looks of it, it's going to be the primary story here. So I think that right now, from what we're seeing here, I think that they might be actually, you know, defying expectations in ways that none of us would have imagined. Again, a lot of us, I mean, I'm going to say this, I think there's a good chunk of audience out there that, you know, who typically follow the MCU were not understanding why we're going to get this Echo show. And now, having seen this trailer, it's like, man, this actually could change the course of how we're going to view the MCU, especially like kind of previewing Daredevil, because Daredevil is going to be coming on two years from now, as I said before. And a lot of us are still asking and wondering, well, you know, is the Daredevil that we're going to see in 2 years from now going to be kind of still have a little bit of that essence of what we got from the Netflix version? Or is it going to really take a deep, you know, I guess you can say deep, you know, diversion from that, going on a different route and making a kind of a different atmosphere of who Daredevil is, but like not necessarily the Netflix version. I think that, and this is of course coming in, in recent news regarding the whole Daredevil situation, because again, there was a couple weeks ago, there was a story, of course, I believe it was the Hollywood Reporter. I want to say it was the Hollywood Reporter. They had reported on the whole, fiasco going on with the behind the scenes for Daredevil, how, eventually, like, the writer and director for the show were basically fired because they did not like the way, because apparently the execs had finally gotten a chance to, check the footage for the series, and they were not happy with the direction of it, like considering again the kind of the general opinions that have been kind of been going around regarding the MCU, and they fired them. They're like basically kind of starting from scratch, although they're probably gonna be keeping a couple of footage here and there depending on how they can fit into the storytelling, but that ended up becoming the case. They're kind of starting all over. I believe they already hired a new director. No, I believe a new writer. I think they hired the writers from Loki. If I'm correct on that, I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I do recall that they had hired a new group of creative teams to take over Daredevil with this whole overhaul. So with that in mind, I wonder if this is going to be playing a part in trying to reinvent a lot of what we imagine the MCU to be. Like if they're going to go into this darker approach to the storytelling, like that could be very crucial. We do see a little bit of, at least in the trailer, we do see a little bit of elements where we get to see a bit of Echo's origin story, the fact that they're about to go back to kind of her cultural, heritage. Like we do see a little bit of the Native American story, so that we do get a sense of the Native American, side of her heritage being shown here. Like we see that here and there. That seems to kind of play a big part in what's going to define her character in the show. So that is something that I'm very intrigued to see. Again, how is that going to be connected to Wilson Fisk? Why is Wilson Fisk, watching over this kid, of course? Like why did he end up recruiting her? Because again, we eventually know that she starts to work with Wilson Fisk back when, we had Hawkeye, and then eventually she turned on him. But again, lots of interesting developments here. Like just having seen this trailer, like it really was just a 180 of how I feel about Echo right now. Because now I'm just like, okay, if this is what they're going to be doing, if we're going to see a very dark storytelling, that, okay, I actually might be very interested to see where this all is going to go. Like maybe this could be the underdog, or the one of the most underrated shows that, or I guess you could say, yeah, underrated shows that a lot of people may have skipped on or may have been overlooking. And now it's like, okay, this could change everything. So yeah, that was a really good first impression trailer. Again, the trailer itself doesn't show too much. There's a lot of great action from what I've seen here, of course. Again, a lot of this really great choreography. I think that's at least one of the nice elements that we did get to see back in Hawkeye with her character. Like, she can really fight. She has those martial arts skills. So that's going to be really interesting to see here. Again, just a lot of the dynamic between her and Wilson Fisk. I think that's the best approach to go, of course, just because you are dealing with a character who's still very kind of unknown to the universe, unknown to us as audiences. And so kind of integrating her character and connecting it to someone who has been really well fleshed out, or at least has been fleshed out in a different form, that, we kind of already have this, I guess you can say like, this familiarity of who this character is, that it kind of helps kind of engage a lot of people who aren't too familiar with the show, who aren't too familiar with the character, to like, okay, give this a chance. So yeah, I think right now, if this is going to be the show that we're going to get, I think it could really surprise us in a really big way, and in a positive way as well. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm really shocked. I think that was a really good first trailer right there, to see a very, all that violence and blood. Like I'm just like, whoa there, like, oh, like I did not expect that we could even test the limits with Disney, but I guess we can. So awesome trailer right there. I'm now looking forward to seeing Echo. I can't wait to see what the second trailer is going to show, because this is the first trailer. I think we're now, considering the fact that this is now coming in January 10th, we're probably gonna get another one right before that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Again, I would imagine that we're probably going to get a little bit of Daredevil in this series as well. Like maybe not in a full extent that we see with Wilson Fisk, but probably in cameos. So yeah, that's all to say about the Echo trailer. What are your thoughts having now seen this? has the trailer changed your mind about whether or not you're going to watch Echo? Were you anticipating the violence and the goriness? Well, not goriness, but the violence of it all. Like, did you anticipate that? Like, has this now changed your mindset about maybe watching the series? Were you a bit surprised to see that, the Echo trailer was showing a lot of Wilson Fisk? Does that mean that, we're going to see a lot of how Wilson Fisk is going to be fitting, going to be very integral into the MCU? What do you think about Maya Lopez in general? Like, knowing that this is going to be her story here, like, what are your thoughts about that? Like, how much are we going to see of Daredevil if he does end up showing up? And what are your thoughts about maybe this show being very connected to the Daredevil series? Like, will this be something that will be very, important, significant, as well as the fact that, and seeing the fact that we've heard a lot about the whole overhaul with Daredevil, like, will this be, will this show really kind of help change how they can change the landscape of how they can really, approach a lot of their stories, going a much more darker route and not be limited by, the whole family friendly photo that Disney has, and really taking those risks. And let me know if you have any other thoughts having now seen this trailer, like the action, the storytelling, the plots, the premise that we've seen so far. Let me know your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe.